Committee, who has been fundamental to the development of this hotel being built. There were several times that the group came before the Oversight Committee. I would like to inquire, I've been on a tour of the hotel. I love the fact that there's a hotel on what used to be one of the worst streets in Boston, and that thus there is development that can grow within the community. But I would like to know if members of this group can come before the Oversight Committee as a follow-up. Because there was, several months ago, we were told that you would follow up with us concerning some of the issues that we had. And I think that it's only fair and fitting that you come before the Oversight Committee, make plans with BPDA to get on the agenda so that you can give us the information and allow the community to ask the kind of questions that need to be
I'd be
asked.
happy to do it, but I'm gonna do it with my team, because in fairness, there has been a number of meetings in the last few months that got out of hand, and I felt as though that they were not treating the associates with members of the audience, and there was a very loud voice of negativity. And my role will always be number one, to make sure that everybody in this building is safe and sound. It's always gonna be number one with me. And if it means me stepping in front of somebody to make them safe and sound, I'm gonna do it. So in my mind, I would happily go and do it, but I would also ask for, at this point, seeing that we have done our best to get you to where you are, that we do it with respect.
I would agree with that, but I think that there are some issues that, just to give, it's like an exit interview, to just give us some information on the numbers of people that were hired from the Roxbury community, because you did outreach to the community, to give an update on what's going on with the name Melania Cass, which we are going to see your tribute to Mrs. Cass. I think those are the kinds of issues. It's not for a confrontation, it's for information.
I'd be happy to go. I'd be happy to go.
In all fairness, but did you hear what he said though, in all fairness? And I think that one of the things you're asking for is the same thing we're asking for. It's about basic respect, and it has to be a give and take on both sides. And if we don't do it on both sides, then, then the neighborhood suffers for it. We're right down the street, Mandela, we're right over there, 10 Hammond Street. So we come with questions from our residents, we're the tenant association. So one of the things they asked about, that they came to the door, that a lot of residents are concerned about, you have a tank in the back?
It's not permanent. It was only because the gas company was on strike.
No, they locked out their workers, which is very different.
Sorry.
They were not
They
on
locked out their
strike.
workers.
Okay.
I agree,
Locked
I
out
agree.
their
They locked out their
workers.
workers.
Okay.
So we were unable to get, we only had temporary, and that's what they gave us to open, and it will be refinished and completed in
Okay, so it
July.
doesn't go underground or
Yes.
something?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
we'll have a gas line come in and those will all go away.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
because
so-
residents were kind of concerned about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
worried. They were like, have you
And
seen
that's,
it?
and
Yeah.
we wanted to have a grand opening party as well, to make sure that we are speaking to all the local people, and just making sure, as a large group, we will have a grand opening party when that is completed, and that was holding us up a little bit. But I'm sorry, I just want to finish on this one. So I 100% promise you that, and I don't have to promise for them, I'm promising for me, I will give you 100% respect, and I would expect in return we get respect, because I want to make sure that every time the answers that we give you may not be immediate, because we have to go back and find out what the answers are to giving you correct answers, but we never want to be perceived as disrespectful. It's not who we are. It's not what we do. We're a gentle team.
Then the second question is about the baseball field. Jim Ray's field has been over there for a very long time. And the feeling is, because with the hotel coming in, they feel like you guys will take over the softball field. Okay. Do you guys support any of the teams?
No, we actually just spent $75,000 worth of a donation to the city to put up nets to make sure that baseball
So
field
the other one you
stays,
say.
and that we don't have any broken windshields in our property. We just donated to the city of Boston $75,000.
Then my third thing, and then I'm finished. So we run a summer camp, program, it's not even camp. And one of the things that we try to do is give kids experience they normally wouldn't have. I'd like to be able to work out that we could bring our kids down here so they can get a tour of the hotel. Because again, it's something that's in their backyard, they pass by it every single day, and we'd like to be able to.
We want you to feel about hotel that our hotel is inclusive, not exclusive. We're inclusive. We want to make sure that you
So
guys feel
who,
it's okay
Leo,
to do your
should she
environment.
contact?
Sheila, tell them, are we an inclusive club?
Very, very. This
We
is like
want
the
to make
best company I've ever
sure,
worked
we want to
with.
make sure that you guys feel really that you're part. We don't want you to feel the way you do. And listen, I do understand, and I spoke with you, and you hit me pretty hard that we came in in the wrong way. Our goal will be to turn that around and make sure that we over-communicate and let you know everything we're doing and how we're doing it. And I think you guys deserve to know what we're doing. There's nothing but good that's gonna come out of this building.
Right, and my
Yeah.
goal, which is why I think it was important to bring folks together here, is yes, there have been these stumbling blocks on how do we move forward. As you're hearing from folks, people are deeply concerned about and want to continue to see a commitment around good jobs. People want to make sure that businesses are being supported.
That's right.
People have deep concerns about the name, so your internal advocacy, that's important too. I know, Ms. Towns, you wanted to say something?
But I wanted to,
Oh, Ms.
yeah, I wanted
Mr.
to mention
Singleton.
before you got up to that, Councilwoman,
Yeah,
I'm
please,
sorry.
go ahead.
On the fans out there, they're gonna be covered after that's done, or on the resident side, is that gonna be covered? Oh, that's
Cameron.
okay.
Separate,
I just
yeah,
wanted to
separate
make,
from
I just
the
wanted to know what was the
No,
whole.
ours ends at our fence between the two, that's
Okay.
our land ends. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say this, that I like progress, especially when I'm progressing with it. And so I think that I can see a number of things. I've had a couple of meetings in here. Nothing got wrong, and people were very friendly. The mathematics of morality require that we counted the numbers. And I'm counting the numbers of people I see, the number of businesses that are connected here, the smiling faces that are connected, and then some of the stuff is disappointing, like the name being left off there. We want to be honored like Paul Revere gets honored. No, we want to get honored like anyone else gets honored. So we hope that you can talk with that Marriott downtown.
And I want, and not to stop you, but I just want you to know too, we did go back to Marriott and explain the
Right.
value of Roxbury.
Right.
And they have done a lot of change in terms of the page.
Right.
There's if you go on the Marriott webpage, how
Right.
it displays, it talks about the Roxbury community and all the stuff that's available around the hotel and how it works.
Right.
We are going to work diligently to try and get the name.
And I wanted to
think
say to Councilwoman Janie, she's been our representative, been a fine representative of this community, because I know I've contacted her and many others have, and I think that we are seeing now that there's some connectivity. It's not the end of the road, but it's a very good start, and I like to be positive and see all the people that I see interacting with. Daryl Silos, my good friend here. I haven't seen him in a long time. And then you have Joe Feaster and all these other people around here that are connected with it that I've known for years. And I want to say that that counts. But we still have to do things like what Mrs. Dorothea here is saying, that we do need to come with that kind of explanation. I think that's just only fitting.
Absolutely, and I would say that this team understands that this group cannot be bought off with shrimp and fancy little reception
There you
here.
go.
We've got real concerns and
Contract.
questions, and I think the shared goals, again, good jobs, supporting our businesses, making sure that Roxbury is being respected. And as long as we share those goals, I think we can continue
Yes.
to move forward.
Yes, I
right?
believe that.
But I think specifics are helpful. So to follow up on Dorothea's question around some specifics, that's helpful. I asked the question about the spend, what percentage is going to support local businesses owned by women, businesses owned by people of color. It'd be helpful to have a percentage in terms of a baseline so that we can then measure and see what your goal is and how we can help you achieve that goal in terms of increasing the numbers. I assume that you, just like the city, you point out the city has a challenge. We all
yes.
have to be intentional though if we're going to overcome those challenges. If we continue to do business as usual, then guess who gets left behind?
Yep.
Okay, so I think we all want to continue to move forward. But people have, questions, so I'm grateful for the opportunity.
I just have one more.
Go ahead.
I turn around.
When we're ready to apply before this open, one of the things that we talked about, because we pushed hard about the employment. I'm not that happy because we sent people down here that didn't get hired. But we also talked about internships.
No.
I think the misgiving about Mandela is, and why we fight so hard about Roxbury, is people have this sense of that poor people and low income people don't strive. Mandela residents, those parents care about their children's education. They work hard about making sure that children get educated. We have kids in college all over. We have Cal State, California, what was it? Cal State, we have Princeton, we have Dartmouth, we have Northeastern. We do a summer program where not only we do based on young kids, but we do internships. And we seek to place our kids in community programs around the community to get, and we pay for them. So you don't even have to pay. The tenant association pays the salary for the young students who are in school to get that experience. So we would be looking for a commitment, and we're not even talking about you have to take 2 or 3, even though we'd like to, but if you took one, that's a help, or, you know.
We'll work with you.
You
And
have
is-
on
and-
both your cards.
Yeah, and in fairness, I want to talk about, just so you understand, we probably when we do a new hotel opening, we probably touch 200 people that will come and looking for jobs, and we're choosing 35 to 40. So I wouldn't take it personal that we didn't choose somebody that you sent, because I bet you we did choose a good percentage of the people you sent. Our numbers for hire here for local was
We
over
didn't
the
get
top.
any, right?
No,
No, we didn't get any,
not one.
not one.
Really?
No.
And we're right down, we're right next door to you, and we're
Yeah.
right down the street.
We had
And
two
we had kids
properties.
that, we had women who went through the hospitality program,
Really? That's
and they're
surprising to
working
me.
in hotels now, not one. And I think matter of fact, they even came up here, a couple of them to even pursue, to find out why they didn't get
I
hired.
apologize, but I'll tell you honestly.
But not one, and
Yeah,
we
no,
were,
I would say, we will look at that, because I will tell you that
And that's
our
okay.
local
I mean,
percentage of
listen.
hire was huge. So, and we were really, we thought when we looked at the numbers that they had given us through MHIC, they were gonna have a hard time reaching those numbers. We reached those
MHIC?
numbers.
You said through MHIC?
Well, MHIC was the person who was checking the numbers.
Right, so MHIC
We know.
provided the.
We know MHIC.
What's that?
We know
we
MHIC.
talking about the master
But they
plan.
provided the tax credits to make this a project, so we could afford it.
Are you
Part of
serious?
their deal, when they gave us the tax credits, was employment during construction and employment after
Yeah,
construction.
and we went way over the
We
requirement.
went over the requirements.
I think, Dean, can you speak to numbers?
I think in terms of
So you know what that,
Roxbury residents, I think currently we're in the low 50s, so 51 or 52% of the associates are Roxbury residents.
Could you repeat that and speak a little louder,
Oh, sure.
please?
And I'd have to double check numbers, but I believe we're at 51 to 52% are Roxbury residents currently employed at the hotel. Boston residents, I believe we are around 76% are Boston residents. I believe we have 72% of our staff are females. And I believe in terms of individuals identified as minority, I think as a whole, I think we're at 95%.
Did you get those numbers to me in writing? I would
Absolutely.
appreciate that, thank you.
and also what MHIC's criteria, what they were looking for. I think it's important to see, because.
Would compare it, yeah.
You know, because here we are, we're asking one thing, and because of the tax credit program, they have another whole set of criteria. And who has the priority here? And it looked like we just got beat out by MHIC.
I think that they thought they were working with the community.
Right.
I'm sorry?
I think they thought they were working with the community to make sure they were
Oh,
assured them
MHIC?
of hire, yeah.
Well, if they were, they weren't.
They didn't
So if you have
inform us, and we meet with
90%
MHIC.
people of color and you have 50% Roxbury residents and 70% Boston, those sound like great numbers. I just like to see it in writing.
Well, I
Look
don't
at it
know
again
another
for you.
business in Roxbury.
But could
that
you
has
do us
this
a-
kind of number.
But could you do that a favor?
If I could see that in
Could you do us a
writing.
favor that when you do get them, could you share with the group?
I
that
will.
has
I
the
will share
numbers?
with everyone that
Please,
You're
yeah.
gonna share them, you're gonna
Yes.
share that information at the oversight committee.
Happy.
Right.
Happy.
Not everyone here will be at the
Right.
oversight,
Yeah.
But I
and
do
who
think it's
knows when
important.
that will get
But I think it's
scheduled, like
important.
how
So we would
immediate.
like
So
to-
I will, if you share those
Yep.
with me this week,
Yep.
I will get them out right away
Yeah.
to the
And I would
folks.
still like to share with you.
Yeah.
the meeting, but
And
I
they
think
should
it's
come and
good.
share it with the oversight as well.
Yes.
But in the
We'd like to
interim,
see 'em.
I will get them out right away.
Okay.
Thank you, that would be
Can you
great.
start with the restaurant that's coming in?
Yeah, coming in.
Or we assume there's a restaurant about.
Well, there was a plan for a restaurant when this was still an idea. Dorothea, maybe you can shed some light. So part of why people were excited about having the hotel come I mean, it's the main reason why people were excited is because it offered the opportunity not just for good jobs for people in our community, 50% Roxbury, 90% people of color, 70% Boston, those are great, but really as an opportunity to really activate and bring some new life and energy through restaurants, which was a key way that many people said. In 2012, there was a survey, maybe many of you remember the survey about what we wanted to see in Dudley Square. Anyway, part of the plan for this hotel was also a restaurant. People who were part of those planning conversations, remember? Do you want to add to that, Dorothea?
Well, I think probably Daryl and Cameron can speak to that.
But just in terms of your memory, that was part of the plan, right?
Yeah,
That was
as
part of the
far as
plan.
I remember, yes.
Yeah, and I was there as well, and that's what I remember. Can anyone speak to whether or not there'll be a restaurant here?
We do not have a restaurant on the dock yet. I mean, it was not, because it's a Residence Inn does have a lounge that serves, an evening lounge that serves pub fare, but it does not
So there
have
will
a
not
full
be
service
like
restaurant.
a full restaurant, like Dona Habana, for example, at Hampton Inns, is an example of what we thought we were getting here, so that's not.
But that wasn't,
Can you add anything
that
to
wasn't
that?
part of the hotel for the Hampton Inn, because that entire strip where Enterprise Car Rental used to be, so it's been a strip of
The strip
minority-owned
of-
businesses that did not happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Cameron, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the beginning, when we first started this project, and Cameron, again, can speak more, there were lots of different hotelers that wanted to be part of this project. And then when the community meetings started happening, that number got smaller and smaller because the ask from the community got larger and larger. So one of the things that we mentioned earlier about the minimum that was agreed upon was $18 an hour. I mean, there's no other business that I know of in Roxbury that does that, where the floor is $18.
Yeah, we do,
Where?
down the street, at Mandela. We
Okay.
do.
Okay.
We believe
So-
in a competitive wage.
Yeah.
Immense event.
Well, that's a good thing. So,
Yeah.
so,
It is a
so
good
we,
thing,
we
great.
did
I can
it, we
celebrate
did it,
that.
we did it.
Right.
And so it got narrowed down to who wanted to be part of this deal. So Leo, Chris, and Mark, their hotel company was the one that stuck out with us until the end and said, we're gonna do this project. And so because they have other Marriott properties in their portfolio, they were able to get them to look at this deal. And so then we wanted to try to do something that was a little higher end for the community, because we all talk about how we need more amenities in our community and not continue to have mom and pop shops. And so the Marriott came in. This particular concept does not have a full service restaurant. It is like a pub fare and an open bar. And I want to address
You
something
said
that,
open bar?
We got it on video here.
You said it.
Right. So one of the things that we should have said in the beginning, because we were talking about some of the mistakes that happened in the beginning when we first opened up the property. You know, I just heard an earful this past weekend about when you first came, about how hard it was to get into the restaurant in terms of the bar itself.
Impossible, not hard,
Okay,
impossible.
okay, but we fixed that problem. We fixed that, and it is open now. So we want the community to know that the bar is open and that anyone can come in anytime. It's only open in the evenings from 5 till 11, and not during the day. We're not open for lunch.
Right, so it was closed. When was that when you told me that? You were the one who told me.
Yeah, it's just 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that was a big issue, and it has been resolved. The second big issue was the front door being closed to the community. And so
And
there.
those, I've raised
and-
both
and-
of those issues.
That's
Yes,
correct.
you
And
did.
that's open now, and it's been open now for 2 weeks.
Yep, and it does close in the evenings.
And I walked through those doors.
You did. And it
When
is
I
closed-
came here
it
this
is closed in the
afternoon.
evenings just because of because we have the security desk on the other side, so when in the evenings when it's dark, we
Fair
do
enough.
close that.
Fair
But
enough.
it is signed well to say that on the other side, the other mode of entrance is open.
Yeah, and just on, so what have, we can't cry over spilled milk, but I think opening the hotel without opening the lounge to the public was another misstep. So when you told me that, I didn't believe it because I had never heard of such a thing. Let me finish.
Yeah, I know.
I had never heard of such a thing. I've been to several hotels in my city, as well as when I travel. And when I'm in my city, I'm not staying in the hotel. I just like to hang out with my friends, whatever, go to the open bar. So I came here one evening, and the person at the front desk said that it was closed. I asked to speak to the manager. I think it was you, Miss Towns, who was so gracious and wanted to accommodate me, but I declined because this wasn't about me. She was going to do that because she knew who I was. But it wasn't about Kim Janey, a counselor. This is about anyone in my neighborhood who wants to come and sit down and eat. So I refused you because it wasn't about me. It is about everyone. With the doors, same thing. What symbolically that said to me was that my doors are closed and my back is turned to Dudley. Because that's where the front doors are. The front doors are on this corner right here, so that people know. Right here at the corner of Shawmut, Melnia, and Washington. Well, not Shawmut, excuse me, Washington and Melnia. Shawmut's that way. Right here. And so to have those front doors closed suggests that I don't want anything to do with this side, and we're just gonna focus on this side.
So Councilor.
And so just so that you understand.
No, I understand, you shared
that-
it with me when we met, and I
Right,
think
that-
that all of those things in retrospect
And I was
make
happy to
perfect
walk
sense.
into the front door
Right,
today.
make perfect sense. I don't think any of those, we commonly, on a residence inn, we take 30 days before we open to the general public, because breakfast for food, outside food
Yeah.
service, because, again, this, we
But
should have.
people that, right, maybe there was a
We should
communication.
have been better communicators.
We
I
did not
agree.
do a good job communicating.
Right,
That
so,
is-
so it wasn't.
Okay.
And again, I don't wanna
wasn't truly-
hash up, I don't want this to hash up, so.
But I'd like to tell
I've
you
had this
why.
conversation.
I like to tell the
Let's-
group why, so they
yeah.
understand, so they don't feel like it was something to done for the neighborhood. So commonly, we open residence in because breakfast is complimentary only to hotel guests, right? In the evening, we're trying to get service levels to make sure that the levels are great and that we're not going to the general public with not having everything perfect. We commonly take a 30-day approach to having just for hotel guests for the first 30 days. It wasn't something we did personally, and it wasn't something for just this hotel, so I apologize, that was how it was perceived.
This was after 30 days though. This is me. It was after 30 days you could open.
We
It
had-
absolutely was your open for more than 30
I
days.
think we
when I
had
came.
open 30 first day.
March
first.
March first, yeah.
No, it was after, yeah, you know why, because matter of fact, you were down in a meeting down at, multi-purpose.
Yes, because we were talking about the other hotel, but you
Exactly.
shared that.
She was outraged.
And we can't, I can't like that following Friday, because it just.
I honestly, I think it's lost in translation because we did open to the general public on March 1st, I apologize. As for the front doors, I do want to talk to that, Jim, because I want to make sure you understand. So the front door would not be a spinner today if we understood that the front entrance or arrival to the hotel was not going to be on Melnia. When we started with this project, our understanding was, with what went on here, there was so much change in the way this land took place. We originally designed the hotel with a very important front entrance because the sense of arrival was going to be in the front of the building, not in the rear. After we started the process and everything changed with where sense of arrival was going to be for the hotel, it was very difficult with the front doors being where they were, for people to be confused where to get off for taxi, for where to get off of Uber, where to get off to enter the hotel. So we thought it was the best importance to make the motor entrance, the front entrance of the hotel, and that's where a taxi takes you, where a Uber takes you, where a bus takes you, because we didn't want people getting hit by cars going by 50 miles an hour.
And Georgia remembers that there were gonna be parking spaces along here, and then the city backed out of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
that's
so
what
a lot of-
happened. So
again,
originally it was
We
designed,
apologize.
there would be parking all along here, and then that got
And we
wiped out.
apologize that that's how it's been perceived, and I said, listen, when you told me, I was with you 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, right? When you started telling me all the things that you're frustrated with, I said, hey, listen, sitting back, boy, that looks really like it was done in poor taste. It was never the intent of our team here or ownership. So at this point, our goal is to fix this and to figure out ways to make sure that we do talk through it and moving forward, how we can make all these things palatable and understanding and how to make it all work so no one feels like they're getting slighted.
I appreciate it.
Great.
I noticed that there seems to be space for businesses along the side
Yep.
here, and so what are the
There
plans
is.
for that?
We have not had, the hard part on the businesses that would be here would be that right now there's not parking for the business. We're having a rough run on parking. Even for the hotel guests, we don't have sufficient parking. So we've talked about what do we do with that space. Do we make it more meeting space? Do we make it a retail space? Where does the person park? Because now, again, in the beginning, when you see parking all out front, retail made sense to this because the whole ribbon had cars in front of it, so therefore you could park here and have a retail space. Now because everything enters from the back and the hotel isn't proximate, the only traffic you'd have is walking traffic, so it doesn't make much sense. So we said at this point, do we enlarge the meeting space and get more meeting space out for the hotel? So therefore it can have more, customers on the meeting side and can bring more people to the marketplace and more revenue to the hotel, into the community.
But when the
And
city.
we even
I'm
talked
gonna
about,
support space for small business.
right, well, and if we can find
That's
ways to
great,
make it.
that's more
Yeah,
affordable.
well,
And
we
I
also-
get your challenges
Yeah,
that you're
we do.
highlighting.
And the other thought we talked about is it was a very strong wish and want for something to be named after Miss Cass. And we talked about that as being an event center in her name. And when we talked to her grandchildren, they said we would support 100% having an event center in her name with something on the building that read her name. But we were not in support with a hotel in her name, because that's really, she wasn't, as they said, she wasn't an innkeeper, but she was very hospitable and liked celebration. So they thought an event center was something that she would partake and be very proud of in her name.
Can you talk to us, because our residents keep asking, and we're not sure either. Can you talk to us about, is that an apartment building on the corner?
Yes, that's Cameron's.
Cameron, you and I?
Who is Cameron?
The architect.
He's the architect?
He's the owner of that
Basically,
building.
the next door is a 50 units apartment, and it's gonna start occupying from next week. And the first floor is gonna have 2 spaces for fitness center, and I'm planning to subsidize the art gallery on the first floor for the community.
So it's an apartment building,
That's correct.
and how many rooms, how many bedrooms?
It's 50 units,
15 units,
10 units
50.
per floor.
oh, 50.
Yes, 5
5 of them. 50 units, 10 units per floor, 2 bedrooms per floor, 6 1-bedrooms and 1 studio per floor.
And so my next silly question, rents?
Rents is we have affordable units from $1,000, and on the 1-bedroom is between $2,000 to $2,800.
And is it month by month or at least?
Is lease, 1-year lease.
I have a question about the front desk. So if I'm a guest and I wanna know what's nearby, what is told to the guest?
Go ahead.
So I'd like to
We're
get a bite to
well-informed.
eat.
Actually, we have.
So I'd like to get a bite to eat. I'm a guest, I wanna get a
Go.
bite to eat. What do you tell me?
So when we have guests that wanna get a bite to eat, there's a few things that we always recommend them. We let them know that there's some tropical foods across the street, because again, we all have the full kitchen, so sometimes they wanna be able to cook their own food, as well as there's different things that are in Dudley, as well as there's different things down in.
Could you give me like your exact spiel, like your,
So this is.
so you don't say there are things in Dudley,
No, I say there's different things, so like there's the cafe, there's restaurants, and I can always pull it up. I always ask them what they wanna eat, so then I can give them the directions to it. But it's kinda, I give them like.
let's say I want traditional, like, maybe soul food with a twist of Caribbean or something like that.
I usually give them to like Daryl's.
I'm trying to get her there. I'm trying to get her there.
I usually send a lot of people over to Daryl's, or I send a lot of people over,
Is there any way that we can give you suggestions, because we have a number of ethnic restaurants, Somalian, Pakistani, things, so I can offer these businesses to you?
Absolutely,
Good.
absolutely.
Okay.
And even if
You
I'm
can
giving
print out
like
cards
there's
then
menus
too,
or
so to
anything,
give them.
any information I can give them, I could always review it with them,
We
like
can
what
pull up in the
it is,
system and print it.
pull up all types of different options for them.
Okay.
Yeah, Marriott has a they call it Rolodex in the system that we enter everything in, so with your description, they could put that and print out exactly the restaurant. David, you could probably
Yeah,
explain.
there's also a list of businesses that your office recommended to us that we actually put into, you actually put them
Excellent.
in.
I'm gonna add some more to that.
Please do,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'd like to ask, because there's a lot of nonprofits in the area, and I wondered, for meeting space, has there been any arrangements, any discounted, meeting space for the, organizations, that nonprofit organizations that are in the area?
There's nothing, I'm working on a package right now for nonprofits, but just on a case-by-case basis, if they call me, and I find out that they're a nonprofit, we usually do a discounted room rental and then food and beverage as well. So, yes, I'm all over that.
Excellent,
Okay.
thank you.
It may be nice if the hotel maybe also subsidizes a few slots down at the daycare. Cause I know some of your workers probably do need daycare, you know, and the Hattie Cooper Center has been there ever since we all, you know, before I got married and raised kids of my own, so they've been there for a long time. And I'm very sure that they could use the funding, you know, and probably would welcome if there was a couple of slots down at their place that were subsidized, you know, so.
I'm Nina Lanegra, and I'm the Vice President of the Roxbury Cultural District. I'm very interested in formulating a connection with you, young lady, so that one right there that tells people where to go, to direct people to the cultural activities that are happening in Dudley Square. There are quite a few at Black Market, Hibernian Hall, when Haley House opens again in the fall, at Dudley Cafe, not just to eat, but also to partake of the cultural activities, yeah.
Rosenington as a brand is supposed to be all about neighborhood. So our goal is to build an opportunity to tell them about everything that's local, because local is the kind of in the know. So it's really important that we do talk about local. We're not here to send people to Cheesecake Factory.
I'm from Roxbury.
Right, we're here to tell people
This
to
is
local
my, yeah.
and experience something that's different so they can go home and talk about it. And hopefully tell people they were in the right place to stay and they were in the know on what they brought home with them for experience.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Strada, and I own Soleil Restaurant. And I'd like to know if there is any space in the front to have like a threefold menu, something for your guests.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We have like a menu draw actually that we give all of our guests. So if you had menus, that'd be awesome, because then when they ask what to eat, we give them like a variety of menus so they can choose.
So I have some right there.
Absolutely.
Yes,